Hello class, and welcome to our discussion of the Essay 1 Introduction. And within this discussion, I am also going to add some details from pages 191 to 201 in Writing Logically, Thinking Critically, specifically when dealing with style. So, your introduction paragraph for Essay 1 should do three things: provide background on your subject and topic, present your thesis statement, and provide the elements of fiction from pages 76 to 79 that you're going to focus on to support your thesis. So when you think of an intro paragraph, it should be a bare minimum of 7 to 10 sentences. So if you have a sentence for your thesis and a sentence for your supporting elements of fiction, can we write at least 5 or more sentences of background information? Answer the questions who, what, when, where, why, and how. What are you writing about? The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. Who are you writing about? The character Mrs. Mallard. Why are you writing this? To determine whether or not the ending is literal, she's happy to see him, ironic, she's not happy, or metaphorical or symbolic joy, it's something else. You might start with brief plot summary. You could give a brief biographical history of the author. And if that's the case, go to katechopin.org and click on the biography document. You can use that as a secondary source in your essay if you want. The important thing is introduce your subject and topic to the reader in the introduction. And your subject is the story of an hour and analyzing it. The topic specifically is, does Mrs. Mallard die of joy? So 5 minimum sentences of background. Another thing you might provide, in addition to plot summary, brief author bio, maybe you provide an anecdote about a theme. An anecdote is a true story that either happened to you or you observed in person or you read about. So it's something that you either witnessed or happened to you yourself. So maybe you start by bringing in your own ethos and invoking a personal experience or observation as related to a possible theme. Well, what are the possible themes for this essay? Joy, happiness. You might look at it from a psychological standpoint. Can someone actually die of happiness? Can someone actually die of shock? Can actually somebody die of something else that might be caused by joy? You might look at the idea of marriage, the idea of love, the idea of identity, the idea of autonomy, self-assertion, what have you. There's a lot of different perspectives from which you can write this essay. And there's a lot of implicit moments in the story. So in addition to background information, make sure you also provide your thesis. Very simply answer the question: Mrs. Mallard does or does not die of joy because. Finish your thought. She either dies of literal joy, she's happy to see him, ironic joy, she's not happy to see him, or symbolic or metaphorical joy, it's something else. The last thing your intro should contain is your support. Please list out the elements of fiction that you're going to focus on: plot, character, setting, symbolism, style, point of view, theme, whatever those elements are that you're going to focus on. Make sure you list them out somewhere in your intro, and usually it's after the thesis, because those are the topics of each body paragraph. So if your claim is that Mrs. Mallard dies of ironic joy, how are you going to prove it, right? Thesis: Mrs. Mallard dies of ironic joy because, finish your thought. Then after that, list out in 1 or more sentences that are parallel. Parallelism plays a huge role when you're listing out your supporting ideas that will be the topics of each body paragraph. Your list of supporting ideas should come from pages 76 to 79 in this book, the elements of fiction. Now, you can list the words plot, character setting, symbolism, style, point of view, and theme, or you could be more specific. What aspects of those elements are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on milieu, omniscience, first person point of view, third person point of view, figures of speech, diction? Again, you have lots of options. When you're looking at character, you might specifically focus on actions, motivations, development. Make sure whatever the ideas on page 76 to 79 are that you're going to focus on, you list them in your intro in a parallel fashion. Please review pages 191 with me right now in Writing Logically, Thinking Critically. Page 191 to pages 201 are all about style, ways to sharpen your sentences and write more effectively. And please make sure your intro paragraph, for this essay lists out the elements of fiction or the aspects of the elements of fiction. What are you going to analyze in each of your body paragraphs to prove your thesis? I suggest at least 3. This is a 4-page essay, so you should have at least 3 body paragraphs to make, right? To make the essay 4 pages. If you have 5 paragraphs, an intro, minimum 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion, you should build to 4 pages. If you need to write more, bring in another element of fiction. I always tell students, why not try and analyze them all, right? Why not try and create an essay that looks at them in the order in the book, right? Start with plot, then move on to character, and then move on to the elements. I think they present them in a good order in the book. But again, you don't have to look at all of them. The key is when you're drafting your body paragraphs, make sure the topic sentences let the reader know which element of fiction you're going to focus on and what the details are that you're going to provide in that paragraph, because that's what we do when we write about literature. We focus on the elements of fiction when we analyze stories. So please, if you haven't already reviewed pages 63 and 76 to 79 in this book, make sure you're focusing on the elements of fiction. Make sure your sentences, pages 191 to 201 in this book, demonstrate, right, parallelism. Make sure they're focused. Make sure they're emphasizing the ideas that you want to emphasize. Make sure you're writing in active voice and using concrete subjects and avoiding wordiness, right? Active voice, passive voice, wordiness, and parallelism are 4 excellent ideas to review before you start writing this essay. Let me know if you have any questions. After reviewing everyone's intro paragraphs, the ones that I received so far, I think that people are doing a nice job getting started, but you have to present the thesis and list out the elements of fiction as your supporting ideas so that you're setting the reader up for what the topics are going to be for each body paragraph. Stay tuned. More to come on Essay 1. Thank you for your patience.